Hakun Giri Govardhan ki jai.
Jai.
Vrindavan Dham ki jai.
Jai.
Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki jai.
Jai.
Ganga Mai ki jai.
Jai.
Jamuna Mai ki jai.
Jai.
Tulsi Devi ki jai.
Jai.
Bhakti Devi ki jai.
Jai.
Shamaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Prem Anande.
Hari, Hari Bol.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glory to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Hari Hari Bol. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirbhishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We're reading, discussing, and studying the Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita Adi Lila, chapter 13, and we're at text number 121. The title of the chapter is The Advent of Lord Chaitanya.
লগ্নগণী হর্ষমতী নীলাম্বর চক্রবর্তী গুপ্তে কিছু কহিল মিশ্রেরে মহাপুরুষের চিহ্ন লগ্নে অঙ্গে ভিন্ন ভিন্ন দেখি এই তারিবে সংসারে.
Translation: after calculating the birth moment of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nilambar Chakravarti privately said to Jagannath Mishra that he saw all the different symptoms of a great personality in both the body and birth moment of the child. Thus he understood that in the future, this child would deliver all the three worlds.
ওইছে প্রভু শচী ঘরে কৃপায় কইল অবতারে যেই ইহা করয়ে শ্রবণ গৌর প্রভু দয়াময় তারে হয়েন সদয় সেই পায় তাহার চরণ.
In this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his causeless mercy, made his advent in the house of Sachi Devi. Lord Chaitanya is very merciful to anyone who hears this narration of his birth. And thus, such a person attains the lotus feet of the Lord.
পাইয়া মানুষ জন্ম যে না শুনে গৌর গুণ হেন জন্ম তার ব্যর্থ হইল পাইয়া অমৃত ধুনি পিয়ে বিষ গর্ত পানি জন্মিয়া সে কেনে নাহি মইল.
Anyone who attains a human body but does not take to the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is baffled in his opportunity. Amrita Dhuni is a flowing river of the nectar of devotional service. If, after getting a human body, one drinks the water in a poison pit of material happiness, instead of the water of such a river, it would be better for him not to have lived, but to have died long ago. Purport. In this connection, Srimad Prabodhananda Saraswati has composed the following verses in his Chaitanya Caritamrita Chaitanyam idam vishvam jadi Chaitanyam ishwaram na vidu sarva shastra gya hyapi brahmayanti te jana. This material world is without Krishna consciousness. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna consciousness personified. Therefore, if a very learned scholar or scientist does not understand Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, certainly he is wandering uselessly in this world. Prasarita Mahaprema Piyusha Rasasagare Chaitanya Chandre Prakate Jo Dino Dina Evasha. A person who does not take advantage of the nectar of devotional service overflowing during the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult is certainly the poorest of the poor. Avatirne Gorachandre Vistirne Premashagare Suprakashita Ratnaughe Yo Dino Dina Evasa. The advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is just like an expanding ocean of nectar. One who does not collect the valuable jewels within this ocean is certainly the poorest of the poor. Similarly, the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3, 19, 20, 23 states, Shvavid Varahoshta Kharai Samstuta Purusha Pashu Nayat Karna Pato Peto Jatu Nama Gadagraja Bile Batoru Kramavikramandye Nashvinvata Karnapute Narasya Jivasati Dan Dadurakeva Suta Nacho Pagayaturugaya Gatha Jivanchavo Bhagavatangri Renum Najatu Martyo Bilabheta Yastu Shri Vishnu Padya Manujastu Lasya Swasanchavo Yastuna Veda Gandham. A person who has no connection with Krishna consciousness may be a very great personality in so-called human society, but actually he is no better than a great animal. Such big animals are generally praised by other animals like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. A person who does not lend his oral reception to hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered to have ear holes like holes in a field. Although that person has a tongue, it is like the tongue of a frog, which unnecessarily creates a disturbance by croaking, inviting the snake of death. Similarly, a person who neither takes advantage of the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, nor smells the tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, must be considered dead, even though he is supposedly working. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 1, Verse 4 states, Nivrita Tarshad Upagiya Manad Bhavosharach Chotra Bano Bhiramat Ka Uttama Shloka Gunanu Vadat Puman Virajeta Vina Pashugnat. Who, but the animal killer or the killer of the soul, will not care to hear glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such glorification is enjoyed by persons liberated from the contamination of this material world. Similarly, in the 3rd Canto, Chapter 23, Verse 56, the Bhagavatam says, Natirtha pada sevayai jivan api mrito hisa. Although a person is apparently living, if he does not serve the lotus feet of great devotees, he is to be considered a dead body. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurinmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitang Jena Bhutale Svayam Rupakatah Mahyam Dadati Shapandantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is a very strongly worded verse. Let's take a look up at the Bengali there. Is that Bengali, right?
Yeah.
Paya Manushya Janma. Do you know, is that similar to anything else? Any other verses that you've heard?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
There would be the Bhaktivinoda Thakur Durlabha Manava Janma.
Yes.
The rare human birth, right? The human birth rare. Hard to obtain.
Yeah. Good. Oh, yeah, you study Bengali. Good. Any others? No? There's the
Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, like Manusyanam Sahasra.
Okay. Manushyanam Sahasreshu, out of thousands of humans, Kashchid Yatati Siddhaye. Maybe one may be interested in perfection. Yatatam api siddh. That perfection is one may be interested in understanding the soul, the spirit soul. Yeah. Yatatam api siddhanam, and those who have attained perfection, understanding spiritual, what is the soul. Kashchin me what is that last line? They only one out of thousands of those who are endeavoring for perfection, they might know me. Yeah. There's another prayer by Narottam Das Thakur. It starts out with Manusya Janma Paya Radha Krishna na Bhajiya Janiya Shunya Bisha Kainu. This is the same idea, being almost the same wording here in the first line. Narottam Das Thakur prays, Manusya Janma Paya, even though I have taken this human birth, Radha Krishna na Bhajiya, I've neglected to worship Lord Krishna, Radha Krishna. Here this focusing on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you can't worship Lord Radha Krishna without Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Radha Krishna, but Janiya Shunya Bisha Kainu. Janiya means I know. Shunya means, you know what Shunya is?
I've heard.
I was warned. You know, how warning is usually verbal, right? Jani, I knew it was poison. I was warned that it was poison. Bisha, I still drank the poison. So this is the situation here. We are in this world. Even though we hear these things, we still become attracted to the things outside of Krishna consciousness. So these verses like these are very strong admonitions that we must make progress in the path of going back to Godhead. And Srila Prabhupada, and here Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, is repeatedly emphasizing this is the prime goal of human life. There are many other attractions, interests, but all those things one may get. Without this Krishna consciousness, doesn't amount to anything. It's actually a poisonous thing. And there's so many verses that are emphasizing this same point. In Srimad Bhagavatam, you know that verse, Dharma Svanustita Pumsam. You know this one?
Yeah.
Vishvakshena Katasuya Notpariyed Yadiratim Shrama Eva Ki Kevalam. That one may perform their duties according to their position in life, dharma swanushtita pumsam, of human being, vishvakshena kathasuya, but if they do not get an attraction or an interest in hearing about the pastimes and activities and teachings of Hari, Lord Krishna, their life is shrama eva. Shrama means wasted. Eva, certainly. He, kevalam, entirely. It's entirely wasted. What a strong admonition. Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
And in the Prema Vivarta, he says, Bhagavat bhakti hinasya jati jasya japa tapa apranasyaiva dehasya mandanam lokaranjanam. In this world, those people, even though they may have great birth, they may have education and austerity, but if they don't have this seed or this impetus, attraction for hearing and engaging in devotional service, they're like a dead body, although breathing. What is a dead body? Breathing. Mandanam lokaranjanam. That means it's like a ghost. So this is an admonition here very strongly. Let's really study these teachings, pastimes, and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so we can really make progress back to home, back to Godhead, and leave this material world behind after leaving this body to go back to the spiritual transcendental world. Lord Krishna assures us in the Bhagavad Gita, Parastasmat tu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatana. He says it's not imagination, it's not whimsy or fancy, a child's idea, but Lord Krishna, the Supreme Authority, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, says beyond this material world, which is vyakto vyakta, is manifest and unmanifest over time, there's a Sanatan world. And that is the real place for all of us to remain eternally happy in the company and service of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Krishna's assurance to that. So this Krishna consciousness movement is to help us come to that point, and also to distribute that ability, that fortune, to other people. It's a wonderful opportunity for all of us. So here the Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is encouraging us and saying that if you hear this message about the birth of Lord Chaitanya will shower his mercy upon you. That's pretty good. That's pretty auspicious, isn't it? Congratulations to all of you. Then I give my congratulations to you. So that's wonderful. We get it too. That's nice. Do you have any questions or comments on this verse? No. In the material world. Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Not on this verse, but you quoted that on Biswaksena Kathasuya. So Biswaksena Katha. So Biswaksena is the head god of the Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, Krishna. So is that his incarnation, or because of he is the main god and something like that? That's what we are.
Vishwakshena, just like it means Lord Vishnu, and it can also mean that one of Lord Vishnu's special guards. In this case, it's meaning specifically Lord Vishnu himself. There are many verses, there are many names of Krishna that are also names of other people. For example, what does Shiva mean?
Shiva means Lord Shiva, we say Sambhu, the
Not just a
head
name.
of
It means some very auspicious, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Some even in the Jewish they have sitting Shiva. So anyway, Shiva. But so the real auspicious person is ultimate auspicious. Lord Shiva is also auspicious, but Lord Krishna is also the most auspicious. So it can refer to either. So in this case also Vishvakshena. Yeah, Vishvakshena.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
And who can we look at this purport just a little bit? Up. Yeah, thank you. So this Srimad Prabodhananda Saraswati. You know who Prabodhananda Saraswati is? Anyone? I'm sure somebody knows. No? Really? Okay.
Name is very familiar, Prabhuji, but not recollecting what is the past time here.
Yeah, see, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya, traveled to South India, he stayed at the temple of Ranganath, and there he stayed at the house during the rainy season, Chaturmasya season. He stayed at the house of a devotee named Venkata Bhatt, who was a pujari, Brahman pujari there. So his brother was Srimad Prabodhananda Saraswati, who was a sannyasi in that line. And Ramanuja began at the Ramanuja, but he became a follower of Lord Chaitanya as well. And he wrote this Chaitanya Caritamrita, which is a summary of Lord Chaitanya's and glorification of Lord Chaitanya. And then Venkadapata's son, oldest son, is Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So he was, Lord Chaitanya was there. And Prabodhananda Saraswati later came to Puri in Lord Chaitanya's association there from South India. The material world is without Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada often would say that his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, said, there's only one lack in this world, and that's Krishna consciousness. Generally, yeah. Any other comments, questions? Okay. Oh, oh, yeah, I wanted to say this also this strong language about calling people who don't recognize or glorify or hear about Lord Chaitanya or Krishna. They're called animals. Srila Prabhupada said, if you notice in the purport, he said, so-called humans, so-called humans. So because the thing that differentiates, that we say that the thing that differentiates the human being from an animal is that they have an opportunity. Humans differentiate themselves from the animal because they have interest in understanding what is God. Human beings and animals have common activities: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And if a human being does those four things only, the focus of the human being's life is those things. The human being may do it in a polished manner, eating in a fine restaurant, or having sexual activities on a very fancy bed, but the same business is there. If you drink water out of an earthen pot or a golden pot, the taste is the same. It's the same business. So the Vedas always repeatedly encourage that atato brahma jigyasa. That's the first aphorism of the Vedanta Sutra. That in the human life, this is the time to inquire and understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or the Absolute Truth. And then the specific animals that are mentioned in this verse and other verses. Srila Shukadev Goswami picks out. Did you catch those different animals? Which were they? Dogs, hogs, camels, asses. Dogs, hogs, camels, asses. And Srila Prabhupada comments that these aren't just, I mean, he could have picked out squirrels or anything, but he picked out these four: dogs, hogs, camels, asses. The hog. Why hog? Why hog? Anybody know?
Because they eat the beast.
Yeah, they'll eat anything. They'll eat anything. Sometimes people are proud that they'll eat anything. They'll eat the brains of an animal or something. So the hog will eat anything. There's the forest hog, but then there's the city hog, and the city hog is always looking for nasty things to eat in the garbage. So that's the hog. So human beings, some human beings, we have to avoid being like hogs. Then camels. Why a camel?
They eat the thrones, and the blood comes from their mouth only, and they think like they are chewing the very
Yes, very tasty meal. They chew on. They like to eat thorny twigs, which causes their mouth and tongue to bleed, and they think, "Oh, this is such a nice taste." So that's compared to sex life. The person discharges semina, and that's like the blood. So many drops of blood, according to the Ayurvedic science, for one drop of semen, so much blood is going. Then the ass. Why the ass? Come on, go ahead, Bhakti Sean.
So the ass is working so hard for no profit, just for a little bit of grass, and not working for their own benefit, but working for the benefit of the washerman or whoever it is. And but they're thinking, oh, they're just getting a little grass, but they're just working so hard for nothing.
Yes. And that grass is available. Otherwise, there's plenty of grass, but the ass is thinking, if I didn't do this work, I won't get any grass. So this is specific. And the dog has to have must have a master. So we can be Krishna's dogs, but in the material world, everybody is working hard for the master, politically or corporately, and suffering in various ways that way. So these types of animals are specifically cited by Shukadev Goswami. We can learn from that. Other comments here?
Mother Shamagori had her hand up a few
I didn't see. Mother Shamagori, please. Are you muted?
Sorry, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
Did you have a question or comment?
So my hand is still raised. No, I lowered it.
Oh, okay. No question or comment. Okay. All right. Next verse.
So I just wanted to mention on Prabhuji. Like I think there is one verse similar verse in the Mahabharata as well. Ahar nidra bhayam atman cha saman etat pasubhi narnara dharmo hi adhiko viseso dharmo bina pasu hi samana.
Yes, same idea. It's not new, although it sounds very it's a little tough, a little brazen against. It seems like it's putting people down, but sometimes we, I know I do, need a little bit of a push to go further, because in this world we can become used to a certain level of sense gratification and forget the real real purpose of just eating, sleeping is not the real purpose. So that's good. Yeah, it's repeatedly in many places in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and you mentioned Mahabharata, also Chaitanya Caritamrita here. Thank you.
Thank you for the direction.
শ্রী চৈতন্য নিত্যানন্দ আচার্য অদ্বৈত চন্দ্র স্বরূপ রূপ রঘুনাথ দাস ইহা সবার শ্রীচরণ শিরে বন্দি নিজ ধন জন্মলীলা গাইল কৃষ্ণদাস
Taking on my head as my own property the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Acharya Advaita Chandra, Swarup Damodar, Rup Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami, I, Krishna Kaviraj Goswami, have thus described the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, Advaita Prabhu, Swarup Damodar, Rup Goswami, Raghunath Das, and their followers are all accepted by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Anyone who follows in the footsteps of Kaviraj Goswami also accepts the lotus feet of the above-mentioned lords as his personal property. For a materialistic person, material wealth and opulence are only illusory. Actually, they are not possessions, but entanglements, because by enjoying the material world, a conditioned soul becomes more and more entangled by incurring debts for his present enjoyment. Unfortunately, a conditioned soul considers property for which he is in debt to be his own, and he is very busy acquiring such property. But a devotee considers such property not real property, but simply an entanglement in the material world. If Lord Krishna is very much pleased with a devotee, he takes away his material property. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.88.8, where Lord Krishna says, Yasyaham anugrinami harishye tadhanam shanai. To show special favor to a devotee, I take away all his material property. Similarly, Narottam Das Thakur says, Dhanna Mora Nityananda Radha Krishna Shri Charana She Mor Prana Dhan. My real riches are Nityananda Prabhu and the lotus feet of Sri Radha and Krishna. He further prays, O Lord, kindly give me this opulence. I do not want anything but your lotus feet as my property. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung in many places that his real property is the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Unfortunately, we are interested in unreal property and are neglecting our real property. Adhane jatana kari dhana tayaginu. Sometimes smartas consider Raghunath Das Goswami a Shudra. But Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami here especially mentions Swarup, Rup, Raghunath Das. Therefore, one who considers the lotus feet of Raghunath Das to be transcendental to all divisions of the caste system enjoys the riches of actual spiritual bliss. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita Adi Lila 13th chapter, describing the advent of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Yeah.
So Srila Prabhupada was giving a talk one time, I think it was in Seattle, and a person questioned him, so, you know, you say we should avoid the idea, we should not think about I, me, and mine, my stuff. But you say, my Lord. And here you're taking it as my property, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Swarup Damodar, etc. So isn't that contradictory? What do you say? You say he's saying, this is mine, these are mine, my property. What do you say?
No.
There's a difference between spiritual and material possessions.
And what is that difference?
He's unlimited, so everyone can have him.
Yeah. So if that was Srila Prabhupada's answer, that, you know, even though you can have the lotus feet of Krishna as your property, that doesn't stop anybody else from having the lotus feet of Krishna as their property as well. Here, Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet of their property. So in the material sense, if I have something, you know, my car, my clothes, my riches, it's nobody else's, right? But in the spiritual sense, as Mother Shobharade pointed out, there's you can have it, and everybody else can have it too. Everybody else has the opportunity. Om Purnam Mada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. That complete ability is there for everybody to have this property of the Lord's lotus feet and his associates also there. So we all have this opportunity. And then this verse that's quoted here from the Srimad Bhagavatam, that's a very famous verse, and it's also a little bit of a warning that when Krishna is very kind, we're thinking, you know, people in this world, we often think that, oh, if Krishna is kind, if he gives me stuff, I get a lot of things, I acquire this and I acquire that. But his real mercy is if he takes things away from us to make us more fully dependent on him. It's a little sometimes hard to fathom. We mean, like, it's a little difficult, but this is for someone, he says, who's really pleased. So somebody who's really pleased with a devotee, then Krishna will do that, and just in order to, so that devotee or that person becomes more dependent and exclusively surrendered to the mercy of the lotus feet of Krishna. And I don't know if anybody's experienced that. Srila Prabhupada would often comment how in his own life he was quite successful as a, there was the Bengal Chemical. Bengal Chemical was the first chemical company in India and was very, very successful. And he was the exclusive agent for them. And somebody did his horoscope and said, you will be as one of the richest men in India. So he was making good salary or money. And but then by some arrangement, Krishna took everything away, not once, but twice. So he had to exclusively dedicate his time and energy to this Krishna consciousness movement of Lord Chaitanya. So it may happen to some of us as well one day, or maybe it's already happened. I don't know. Maybe you have experience. No?
This dhan could be your near and dear ones as well. It doesn't have to be physical property.
True. Good point. Very good point. It's not just, money, but one's other kinds of security, people, etc. Good point.
Yeah, exactly. That happened to the Narad Muni in the first canto. That after that Narad Muni went.
Explain. How's that?
Yeah, so it's like Narad Muni was he was thinking like his mother is serving him, and she is providing all the protection and everything, and he was attached to her. So Krishna took his mother died because of snake bite. Once she died, so he was like not having. He was thinking like nobody is now there to take care for him. So Lord is taking care of me, and then he renounced everything and he started for that
Yes, so
benefiting on Lord.
from a material point of view, he became an orphan, right?
Yeah.
Not a Muni. But usually you think, oh, poor orphan, they put him in institutions. But Narad Muni took it as the arrangement of Krishna, even though he was just a little boy. And he decided to try to understand Krishna more fully. So here we have, this is the end of this chapter. And I wanted to open it up for any discussion about certain points in this chapter. If there's any questions or comments, I have a few thoughts also, but I wanted to let you give the opportunity to comment or question some of the points in this chapter about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance and just his that around that. And if I don't see everybody here, so I don't know if there's somebody has a, no? Anybody? I didn't want to go on to the next chapter if we're already at this end of this chapter.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Prananath Prabhu.
Pranavad Pranam, yes, Prabhupada. So, just a very minor question. How do I understand the meaning of the word cult in this context?
Good question. Sometimes in Western parlance, the word cult has a negative, it's attached to a negative connotation. That means, some kind of group that's following a charismatic leader that doesn't have any authority from traditions or from scripture, etc. But that's not the real meaning of cult. Cult just means a group that's following a particular path. So it can be used either way. The real meaning, the original meaning, isn't a derogatory or a negative thing. It's just a group following for religious kind of purposes, but it's attained that negative connotation, the negative idea, because of more recent history in the West, particularly. I don't know if that helps.
Thank
Anyone
you.
else?
Many years back, when I was talking about book distribution, somebody mentioned, isn't this just a cult?
Yes.
That's why and we
Yes.
read here in this purport. So
They have movements, anti-cult movement. So yeah, so I mean that's taking the negative connotation of that it's run by somebody who's not authorized or following any standard religious practice. They make up their ideas, and they get people by certain kinds of deceptive tactics, and that's where the idea of brainwashing usually is associated with cults. Have you heard of brainwashing? Yes, no?
yes.
You know where the idea of brainwashing was first kind of popularized? Interesting historical point. It was during the Korean War. And, after the Second World War, there was something called the Geneva Conventions. You've probably heard of the Geneva Conventions. And, because the Second World War was very terrible, many countries, they got together and decided, we have to improve our rules of war and not, so they outlawed certain things like chemical and biological weapons. All the signatories of that convention said, we're not going to use biological or chemical weapons. Like in the First World War, they used mustard gas and things like that, which was very devastating. So anyway, during the Second World War, during the Korean War, sorry, there was a accusation that the United States had used chemical and biological weapons against the North Koreans. And in fact, some pilots were shot down over North Korea, and the North Koreans captured them. They parachuted out of their planes, and they had them on camera. They made a movie of them confessing to using chemical and biological weapons. Did you know this? It was a big deal because the United States, they were a signer of that Geneva Convention. And so, if they had been found to be violating it, it would have been their national prestige and would have been certainly damaged. So anyway, what the United States government came up with was those people had been brainwashed. How had they been brainwashed? Well, they were stopped from sleeping, they were stopped from eating, they were put in difficult conditions, and during that time, they were able to, by doing that, repeatedly told certain things and threatened. They actually believed that this had happened, even though it was completely untrue. So that was the official response to this accusation that they had been brainwashed. Well, guess what? In reality, they did use chemical and biological weapons. So they hadn't been brainwashed. So brainwashed, is it possible brainwashing? Well, that they accuse cults of brainwashing. Well, it doesn't really work that way. So they've accused the Hare Krishnas of, reducing people's eating. They can only eat vegetarian food, so that way they makes their brains soft. They can't think for themselves. They give them make them sleep only 6 hours a night, so that makes them susceptible to brainwashing. Well, that's not really true. Yes, Mother Suman has her hand up.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
There are so many things I'm not able to remember right now, but I think I remember this one thing, that Lord Sri Chaitanya was born on a very auspicious day. It was lunar. It was I think lunar eclipse.
Yes.
And everyone was saying Hari Hari Hari. So when he was born, everyone was saying Hari Hari. So that's what
Yes.
I really remember. Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
And Srila, like in this, we read the verse by, there was no purport, but we read the verse saying that Nilambar Chakravarti did the horoscope of Lord Chaitanya at the time right after his appearance. And he said, this person will be able to deliver the three worlds. Well, what are the three worlds? What are the three worlds? Yes.
Down, middle, and up.
What's that?
Lower planetary system, middle planetary system, and upper planetary system.
Yeah. So lower, middle, upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. So who can deliver the three worlds? Who can deliver?
Only Lord.
Krishna.
Yeah, only the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in a sense, Nilambar Chakravarti is saying, this person, he said it privately to Jagannath Mishra, his father. This is God here. And Srila Prabhupada actually said that in one of his lectures. Nilambar Chakravarti could identify by the horoscope, even though it was he was a little bit covered incarnation, still he could understand this was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's what he said to Jagannath Mishra at that time. Some other things that were there are the neighborhood Brahmin ladies, they gave presents, they brought gifts to, and Advaitacharya's wife Sita Devi, she also gave gifts to Lord Chaitanya, and there, remember those gifts?
Yeah, jewels, full of jewels, fruits, and yeah.
Bananas and coconuts.
Koi, Narikil,
Yeah.
yes.
I looked up koi. I couldn't. There's the only references I found on a internet search for koi was from Srila Prabhupada's books. Are you familiar with koi?
Yeah.
And what is it?
It's like moody, puffed rice.
Yes.
But when you look at it, the sort of the grains that are puffed, they have jagged edges throughout.
Okay. Can you purchase it in an Indian store?
I think so. I haven't specifically gone and seen, but I'm sure they have it.
So on Gaur Purnima, should we offer koi to Lord Chaitanya?
Why not?
Well, the ladies of Navadvip were, Advaitacharya's wife was. I guess they know what would be pleasing to Lord Chaitanya. And maybe, I don't know if that's just when he was a baby, or do you use it for other things too? I don't know what you use it for exactly.
I think Bengalis use it for pretty much all auspicious occasions.
And what do they do with it?
I think,
I'm not sure.
I think during in Durga Puja, during dance, men use it. I think that's what
Even weddings, I think.
Okay. Mother Vindyavalis kind of looks like she wants to say something. No? Okay. And then there was this turmeric and vermilion and oil. So was it Srila Prabhupada mentioned that these things were observed very rigidly at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and some of you were still doing it. So is that a good thing we should do? We should do that or not? Or is that only for Lord Chaitanya? I mean, because some of you might have another child after a little while. I don't know. If you're gonna have another kid, should you do that? Put turmeric, oil, and vermilion? No? What do you think?
Yes.
I'm sure.
You think so? What
Yes.
makes you think so? Was that Prananath?
Yes, Prabhu.
And what makes you think so?
I mean, we are following here the instructions, and right? It was done, and Prabhupada is saying here it was done, and
Yes. So you might at least consider that, certainly. I don't know what the arrangements might be. I don't know what kind of how much turmeric you use. We might have to get some instruction about that. Did you ever do that before, Prananath Prabhu, in your family?
applying turmeric.
Turmeric and oil and vermilion on
Yes.
the body?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think I mentioned last time, right, as part of the weddings also, it's
Yeah.
customary, that there's a bath given with this oil and turmeric.
What kind of oil?
I don't remember exactly. Maybe sesame. I don't know. I don't remember. Sesame oil, I think. Yeah, and this turmeric is also freshly grounded. From those buds, so it's not a store bought.
Oh, freshly ground not from the root, or no?
From the root you get it, and then they crush it or powder it right there. Fresh. Everything is fresh. Yeah.
So it's not tender turmeric, the ones that we have been using in the kitchen. It's not that kind of turmeric. It's dry, so it is
dry one. They make it powder.
Stored separate, stored outside. It doesn't have to be refrigerated. So they powder that, and even that is part of the wedding ceremony. All the ladies come. The turmeric root is put in a mortar, and then all the ladies at least ceremoniously pounded, and then it's, pound in a
Yeah,
mill.
we call it a haldi ceremony.
Haldi ceremony.
Actually, any auspicious thing we use haldi.
So-
Any puja, prayers or anything, we use turmeric. That is very auspicious for us.
So should we do this for the for next Gopurnima, something like that? Maybe you can arrange for that, Mother Vindhyavali. I mean, they were offering it for the baby Lord Chaitanya. I mean, and apparently, I mean, these people, they were great devotees. Sita Thakurani, the Srivas Thakur's wife, they knew what would be pleasing. You know what else? They were offering them bananas, coconuts. They also offered paddy and grass, which is darba grass. I don't know what that's about, putting it on the head.
Like put chandan, we can put the turmeric on the deities,
Okay. So
That's
something that could be considered anyway.
Yeah.
And another interesting point is that when Lord these devotees around, they came and give gifts to Lord Chaitanya. Some of them were golden ornaments. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Golden ornaments with golden coins. I don't know how much gold that we might give to Lord Chaitanya. Anybody has any extra gold, we might give that, right? But then somebody
But
can
later
say, well,
on, what will they do, Prabhu?
what's that?
Later on, they have to save that thing,
Of course, yes. But then somebody can say, well, what? Krishna, why do we have to give these things? Why do we want to give these things to God? I mean, he's got enough stuff, right? He has enough. What do we?
Everything is his own thing, It's
okay, so then, yeah,
not
why should we bother giving? Why should we bother giving?
out of happiness,
Yeah. Any other reason?
Knack of love,
Out of
Yeah,
love,
devotion.
okay. When you love
Devotion.
somebody, naturally you want to give. Yeah. Any other reasons? Mother Shobharade sitting there?
You want to give the best to him, you give everything
Yes.
to him.
And by giving the best to Krishna, giving things to Krishna, we get benefit. We get benefit. It purifies our hearts because we recognize he's the Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Shantam Richiti. So all these gifts were given, just like after the birth of Jesus Christ, they say 3 kings came and they gave some gifts, right? So these gifts are being given here.
And these symptoms of devotees also.
What's that?
Symptoms of devotees giving gifts, taking gifts.
Yes, right. Dadati, Pratyuginnati, yeah, that's right. These are exchanges of love. Yes. So this, we might consider, when they first opened the temple in San Francisco, Srila Prabhupada said, encouraged people, because many of the people who were coming were hippies and they didn't have much. But he said, bring some flowers, bring some fruits, flowers. So the temple was always full of flowers and fruits donated by the people coming. Because when you come to see a great personality, you bring something nice, bring some gift, something. I mean, it can be just Lakshmi or money, but other things too, nice. If you see Mother Manju always brings a little basket with fruit. You seen that? Yeah, this is very nice, very nice. Lord Krishna will appreciate. He accepts your patram pushpam palam toyam, also gold, silver too, if you like. That's fine, like with Lord Chaitanya. And what about the tiger nails? Did you remember the tiger nails?
Yeah. I used to have when I was.
You used to have tiger nails?
Yeah, a long time ago, but I gave it to my niece.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how they get those
we
tiger nails.
We get that in, yeah.
You get tiger nails?
Tiger nails, and then sometimes they say tiger, lucky bone, this shoulder bone, that also they make a pendant for the
From
kids.
a tiger?
Yeah, for the kids, they do that.
Is that from they killed the tiger then?
I don't know, but we buy them. We don't kill them.
Okay. Well, anyway, it was auspicious there for giving to Lord Chaitanya this tiger nail set in. It was set in gold. Okay.
Oh.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And another point was that when Jagannath Mishra got all these things, you know what he did with them? He put them in the bank, right?
No, he gave.
No, he didn't.
He donated
put what-
it.
Yeah, he gave whatever he gave away to everybody. This is the duties of the Brahmin. The Brahmin might get $1,000 today, and tomorrow they're poor because they use it all in Krishna service, or give it away to other Brahmins who will use it in Krishna service. The duty of the Brahmin is yajan, patan, dana, patigraha. Yajan. They perform sacrifices like Harinam Sankirtan, and they teach others how to do those sacrifices. Patan means they learn it in the scriptures, then they teach others in the scriptures. Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Dana, they give in charity and they accept in charity. That's the 6 occupational duties of the Brahmin. So not making a big putting it in the bank, but taking whatever's required, whatever necessary, giving everything away. Simple. Okay. Anything else? So this chapter we finished this time, and I think we said we we're going to go back to where we were before after this. Is that all right?
That's right.
Chaitanya, Nityananda, Advaita, Swarup, Damodar, Rupa Goswami. Oh, Raghunath Das Goswami. Because Raghunath Das Goswami was born in a family of Kayastas, which they, in Bengal, they consider almost like Shudra, Kayasta. So if you see old pictures of the 6 Goswamis, you look who's wearing a Brahmin thread. And you'll see not all. That's very interesting. I don't know if they're bona fide pictures. If you look at ISKCON pictures, they all have the Brahmin thread. But anyway, and some people will say that, Brahmins, we had discussed that Brahmins usually worship Shaligram, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shaligram. But Lord Chaitanya gave Govardhan Shila to who? Raghunath Das Goswami. So the Smarta Brahmins say, oh, that's because he was really a Shudra. That's because he wouldn't give Shaligram. That's what they say. But actually, as mentioned by Srila Prabhupada and Raghunath and Krishnadas Kaviraj, Raghunath Das Goswami is better than any Brahmin. This is the best Brahmin because of when they actually understand spirit, the topmost Brahmin becomes a Vaishnava. And Raghunath Das Goswami is a topmost Vaishnava, direct associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's transcendental to the caste Varnashram system, being an eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Raghunath Das Goswami, the 6 Goswamis. Okay. So we'll go back to go ahead.
Last thing. I've heard you say this prayer a few times, and I just wanted to share that I like it. This is Ajanu Lambita Bhujo. If you could.
Oh, that prayer. That's the invocation for the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Bhagavat, written by Vrindavan Das Thakur. It's actually pertaining to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda both. Ajanu Lambita Bhujo. Bhujo's arms that go beneath the knees. Ajanu Lambita Bhujo. Kanukaba Dhato. Dhato. Kanuka means golden form. Kanukaba Dhato. Sankirtanaika Pitaro. It is the father of Sankirtan. Kamalaya Taksho. He's got blooming lotus eyes. Kamalaya Taksho. Vishwambharo. Vishwambhar, the maintainer of the universe. That was his given name, right? Vishwambhara. Also a fact. Vishwambharo Dvijabharo, the maintainer of the twice-born Brahmins. Dvijabharo Yuga Dharma Palo, and the deliverer of the Yuga Dharma, Sankirtan. Bande Jagat Priyakaro. I offer my obeisances. This is both Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, actually, I should clarify. Bande Jagat Priyakaro Karuna Avatara. and they're merciful to the whole universe. Karuna avataro. Jagat Priya, they're dear to the whole universe. Karuna avataro. To deliver, like I said, this, they are able, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda are able to deliver the three worlds. Nice verse. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ajanu lambita bujo kanukabatato sankirtanaika pitaro kamalaya taksho vishambaro dvijabaro yugadharma palo bande jagat priyakaro karunavatar. Hare Krishna, Gauranga, Lord Chaitanya, Manusha Janma Paya Radha Krishna na Bhajiya. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Thank you, Vishnugada Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, everyone.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Vishnu.